to start, as they have started on Sting for sure. He's the Doom player for Enso. He will survive after all this chilling touch damage or not, although this Soul Assumption will hurt a lot if he throws it. No, he's not going to. Okay, let's see who else is going to be playing. Well, we got Misha once again on the roaming support CK. Nausea on the Tusk. Over in mid, ILTW is chasing after Iceberg, but the jukes are real so far for the SFs. He's one more shot, can't quite get it. Grave Chill's there, plus the Fissure. Templar Assassin is going to die, giving Iceberg a free kill over in the mid lane, though does force some rotations in, and they're actually going to run into Goretz. The Echo Slam there, Goretz is going to start for a little while longer. Here comes KS, who's the Wraith King. He's going to come in, stun up Misha. Doom is here. Wraith King lacks the chasing power to catch up to such a fast hero, as the CK doesn't have enough mana for another stun either. Everyone should survive. But flying through all the other heroes, we got Muriel on the Viper, Iceberg, Shadow Fiend, Vangscore, Ancient Apparition. Always Want to Fly is the Flying Visage, KS Wraith King, and I think that's about it. Goretz is Shaker. And yeah, that is it for Enso also. They're going to jump right into court towards KS, but this Tusk is none too healthy. It's just going to be him feeding over the kill towards Wraith King, who did have mana afterwards, so don't really know what Tusk was doing there, just voluntarily suiciding his life over. Need to find your Steam.
I'm good. Sorry about that. We're all good.
Are you in?
I'm in now. We're in the game. It's all going to occur. I'm so excited to actually watch some Dota 2 here. I'm certainly sitting at 5-4 at the kill spread. Is that where you're at as well?
Yeah, 655.
Wonderful. Everything is working how it's supposed to be working. I'm so excited. So we've got the CK again, and it looks like he is going to be roaming around the map here. Is already level 3. That's the Reality Rift into the mid lane. Iceberg Dota 2-second stun. This might actually be enough to get the kill here. And oh, one last hit from the shards from the side blades. Going to be able to be enough there. ILTW making it happen now. Turn in as well towards the Earthshaker. Does have the slow out on him as well. Misha get the bit of a body block. Not going to be able to be enough here to get the kill, I don't think, with Vanscore coming in as well as Always Want to Fly. Another jump forward. Chilling Touches coming out. They're in a little bit of trouble now. Misha taking a lot of damage as well. They want to try and turn on to Always Want to Fly one more time again. Refraction charges up. We're going to keep LTW a little bit longer, but the CK ends up falling as well. So a nice little trade there. Can they actually find another stun here on top of the TA? That's going to be the Wraithfire Blast, not able to dodge quite well enough and keep the Wraith King away from his TA with those shards. Nausea still trying to keep his buddy alive and should be able to do it now. Nicely done there.
Okay, so that's his second rotation so far. The first time he's ended up with a 3-1-1 score, but the second one is going to be an empty gank here or empty TP rather, from the Wraith King. Still has the reincarnation, so the fact that Doom is wrapping around almost completely going to be irrelevant. Up towards top lane though, while they're brawling, it's still the Viper to get free farm. It's not that dangerous of a hero to allow to get free farm, so for CIS rejects things can be a lot worse. But it is going to be that scaling damage into the late game somewhat for Enso that's getting a lot of free time up on top. Always Want to Fly going to make his arrival in and will push Muriel away. Looking for the tower denied, Visage will get it. Well played by this top lane, Visage at the moment. Always Want to Fly, maybe he'll stick around for a little bit more experience, but right now 6-6, and we didn't get a chance at all to look at the draft or anything like that. We just kind of throw in there, as we now see Enso with a very, very slight lead in this game. For CIS rejects, they've actually found themselves with a pretty peculiar draft. Wraith King is fine, but Enso definitely have a lot of damage right now. Misha, though, is going to get caught. Double raise after the fissure. Double damage also on the Shadow Fiend. It's going to bring down the roaming CK, who was off to a much better start in the last game.
Yeah, definitely. It hasn't really been able to find that sort of rhythm. And I think that when you try and run a draft 2 times in a row, you can sort of be exposed in terms of the weaknesses of the picks. And I think that right now as well, I mean, honestly, anytime you end up running into a Shadow Fiend with a DD up, it's just so much freaking damage coming out. If you take a look now, he's hitting for over 200 a pop. On top of that, has maxed out raises. He just has so much freaking tank ability, or just straight up damage. And now over bot lane, we're going to end up seeing KS try and take on down Nausea here. Is going to be able to make it happen despite the Frozen Sigil as well, going to slow down the attack speed. They also had the Chilling Touch up, so slower attacks across the board, but enough to be able to do a lot of damage now as well. Sting coming on as well. Nice able to hit the fissure there, going to be able to continue to hit him, but this Doom is just so tanky, even not necessarily having that the spell that keeps him regen on up. That's going to be a kill there. LTW going to be able to take down the Wraith King one time. Can they get a second time over? Doom down on top of him. Sting is going to chase a little bit further. Might be able to get him with the Scorched Earth, but not quite up, and then he's still going to end up falling. Nicely done there. Doom gets the kill on the Wraith King after using the spell.
Vangscore does TP on out of there, so for Enso, they keep their Doom alive. They come around with the Templar Assassin, gets now up to a 3-1-1 score herself. How come everyone is at a 3-1 score? I don't know how that happened. But we do have Goretz sticking around with an Invis Rune right now, so he has a pretty good read on what this Templar Assassin is doing, and still some experience, is very close to an Echo Slam at this stage. And there's a lot of heroes down in this bottom lane, so for Enso, they really do have to be careful about this Invisible Shaker for just a little while longer. Over in the meantime, we've got mid lane situation where Shadow Fiend going to put the screws to Muriel with the Familiars overhead. Actually going to wrap around onto Iceberg, but here comes Requiem and the Echo Slam. Not going to do a ton, as Refraction was up on the Templar Assassin. Misha going to try to book it into the Roche Pit. That's not your salvation. There's not much mana on Goretz. He needs just 30 more to get a Fissure off. It's not going to happen. KS is not going to get walled off. He gets put into the Snowball, which is going towards Goretz, bringing Misha back into the fight. One raise, one right click. They're going to get that kill. Now the Familiar stuns coming down 1-2 with the right click on Nausea. Going to give CIS Rejects a secondary kill over in this bottom lane. Well played by the Visage, who's still up towards top lane, not only getting levels, but also pushing it pretty harshly. And for CIS Rejects, that was not the snowball that Tusk really wanted. It brought the CK right back in, so not a good place for them to be. 10-7 now, CIS Rejects take a slight lead.
They were able to dodge the Wraith Fire Blast that came out, but at the end of the day, still end up getting a bunch of damage. There's going to be another Chilling Touch, AA Blast as well, on top of the Fissure, and it's just too much freaking damage coming out there. AA goes down for his trouble, though. A little bit of a turnaround now. Snowball coming in on top of the Earthshaker. That's going to end up hitting 3 heroes here. Muriel does have that mechanism, but if he wants to use it, doesn't end up popping it now. Ended up running out of mana, unfortunately, and now Misha is going to get burned down here to the side by the Viper as well. They have a lot of sustainability with that mech coming on out, but now this huge amounts of magical damage. Muriel's going to end up falling. This freaking Soul Assumption deals so much damage. Misha now trying to run away again, does have a Reality Rift, but there's a Grave Chill slowing down his movement speed. Is going to be able to hit another Wraithfire Blaster. How many of those does he use? Doom gets used on the Wraith King. He does not have his ulti back up. Might get denied here in just a second. Nicely done by the Visage, and that's going to end up being another jump away. TA back in this as well. ILTW is doing a ton of damage. Doom ends up taking down Visage, killing spree. He gets a kill regardless, even though he ended up getting denied on out. Vanscore now gets killed by the level death. Triple kill now for the Doom. He is doing a heck of a lot of damage at this stage in the game.
Man, so is the Templar Assassin. That's really a fight for CIS Rejects where they want to have their Shadow Fiend in that. He was up towards top lane again, getting a little bit of farm, pushing it pretty aggressively as well. But man, if they had raises there, if they just had a hero that does 150 damage a pop there, it would have been a lot more difficult for Enso to take that fight. In fact, I'm tempted to say it would have just been a clean sweep in favor of CIS Rejects. Maybe losing the Ancient Apparition, maybe the Visage, but definitely gaining a lot more in exchange. So far, though, Always Want to Fly, overperforming on this hero, dropped so many Soul Assumptions, which is difficult given the pool of Visage's mana. Not that deep. They're going to try to go for Roshan, and so will be spotted immediately by the Ice Blast. Here it comes. Familiars overhead. Sting may just shatter to this one. He can't heal from the Scorched Earth. Fissure will kill him off. That's one kill so far. Misha ILTW still pretty healthy, but not healthy enough to go back into the Roche Pit. These Familiars, just such a nuisance, will constantly fly and scout overhead. And while Enso are kind of messing around in this bottom area of the map, not doing a whole lot, Shadow Fiend is taking the tower and is even pressuring the next tower as well. Thinking about going for a Shadow Blade, did end up selling it, thinking for something else now. We're towards mid lane, Always Want to Fly, shards almost to connect, but it will be Enso to make their retreat afterwards. It's a tower in the CIS Rejects advantage over in top so far, having lost very little in exchange.
Yeah, it's a kind of an interesting little thing here. I mean, you take a look also at Iceberg does fine, but he's got 3,500 right now. He's actually going to opt to go for that Shadow Blade finally. And in a matchup like the one that we saw last time as well, where you have a ton of fighting that goes on and not a ton of pushing towers, a Shadow Blade into a Requiem of Souls can be such a huge team fight turner. And really, I think that what needs to happen now is if CIS Rejects are able to win a couple of these team fights convincingly, I think that they're going to be able to win the game as well, because I like their late game a little bit better, considering that you're not getting farm or even prioritizing farm on Misha. You're really prioritizing this hero being a bit of a support play and trying to make kills happen in this sort of quasi-laning stage we've got going on. So across the board, a little bit dangerous. Always Want to Fly is going to end up getting chased down here. Tons of damage being dealt out. He's going to be able to turn this back around a little bit. This actually might be a Soul Assumption on top of Misha. That's going to kill him. Visage ends up getting the kill there. Very nicely done. He has another one in just a second. That's going to be a lot of damage on top of the Doom. Does not have the A on top of him, but Goretz here might be able to get denied out again. Actually isn't even going to need to. I think he's going to be able to stay alive through this, and Shadow Fiend takes on down the Doom. That's what you're talking right there. ILTW goes down as well. Wraith King getting that kill, and now Earthshaker back in the mix as well. Might be able to find a Fissure onto Muriel, but is just going to let him go away, and instead they're going to opt to take this Roshan for themselves.
Shaker is not exactly what you want to be doing all the time, especially a Shaker who's already used all of his skills. That was already Fissure and Echo Slam out. Yeah, he had enough mana to get a couple more out, but I mean, that just wasn't the right target to Doom. I don't really think there was a good target there to Doom, simply because everyone was so darn healthy, but Always Wanna Fly somehow still surviving. Now his level 3 Gravekeeper's Cloak is going to be very resistant to the initial brunt from Enso's attacks, and now with the Solar Crest even has evasion for himself. Or just will be able to tear people to shreds with these familiars, which are going to be level 2 really rapidly. Over towards mid lane, Iceberg going to get jumped. 2-second stun, Reality Rift is there for Misha. He has not enough damage. In fact, Iceberg's going to turn around and man fights the CK. He gets hit with the Viper Strike. Oh no, he actually dodges it with the Invis. Gets the kill with the Raze. Then is prepping the Requiem, which is going to do pretty much nothing as everyone was in the snowball. Iceberg does have the Aegis, however. Here comes the Ice. Will affect Miriam, will kill him off with KS is getting one last crit. Familiar's flying overhead, looking to cut off Sting. Looks like they don't have a Shaker in a position to stun him up, so Sting should be able to get away, but in the meantime, it will be the Aegis to be burned by the Shadow Fiend. TA camping out the Shadow Fiend's body. Sting gonna try to TP out. Familiars are overhead. He's definitely gonna fall, just has no backup over here. Iceberg in the meantime, still fighting against LTW and Nausea both is gonna go invis. Nausea will drop to one more right click. Goretz may give his life so that the Shadow Fiend may live. Looks like he's going to try to juke out LTW. He's gonna get the stun. LTW needs another slow here, but Always Wanna Fly is coming in. Will land the slow first if needed. Templar Assassin cannot even get the kill on the Shaker, and now she's just on the run. If a Grave Chill lands, that may just be the end of the Templar Assassin. She can meld dodge for this Wraithfire Blast, and she's going to have to. Here comes the Frost Blast. It's going to connect. Templar Assassin does dodge the stun, but they're going to hesitate not at all to dive this tier 1 tower, tier 2 tower rather. Now TPs are coming in. Fissure going to wall off Muriel and Misha. Nausea is going to arrive. ILTW going to try to pick a fight 1v2 right now. Has the Viper right behind her with the mech as well. CK does pick up the Shaker off to the south side. Snowball now going towards Bank Score. Iceberg is there. They have a stun towards Nausea. That'll get the kill immediately for KS, who still does have his ultimate pots of Blade Mail, and just going to go down to Muriel. At the same time, Iceberg bringing down the CK for the up team time. Always Wanna Fly now will eventually drop, but it's going to cost Enso a hell of a lot as Iceberg is going to grab another kill. Here comes Sting. Has Doom, but he doesn't have vision of Iceberg. He's going to use the Doom instead on KS, but that's not going to stop his reincarnation. They'll drop the Ancient Apparition over in the backside. KS will fall. Iceberg still sticking around looking for perhaps a couple more raises. KS is going to pop right back in, but Doom actually does kill up the Shadow Fiend with just the Scorched Earth, I believe. Now Doom's got to fight up against the Templar Assassin and Doom by himself. He has no more reincarnation, and with Templar Assassin sustained damage output, KS should fall, and he will. That's an ultimate 5-man wipe in favor of Enso, but they lose so many heroes in the process. In fact, they may have lost even more than 5.
That was freaking crazy. It just continued to go the whole time. It does look, at least for this little last piece where 7 heroes ended up dying, that it was a 3,800 gold swing into the favor of Enso. So really, really solid there in terms of their ability to make the most of it. It is still a Shadow Fiend sitting at top of the net worth at 9,000 roughly. He was dealing so much damage there throughout the whole course of that team fight, though. He had Chilling Touch level 3 on top of him, which is that 70 damage in terms of magical being put out on top of the on top of just his max souls damage that he was dealing as well. So really, really impressive. That's actually going to be a Silver Edge picked up on the Shadow Fiend. Kind of an interesting choice, but it makes a lot of sense considering you're wanting to break away the natural tank ability of the Viper, as well as that bonus damage that he gets with Nether Toxin. I actually kind of really like this pickup here. It gives him more than just the one-trick pony, and another reason to have this beyond just a Requiem of Souls start of the fight. I think this is a really cool pickup by the Shadow Fiend here.
And not only that, like, bare minimum, it's also a Sanj in his inventory. Like, it does give you a lot of HP just having that item. Now he's going to try to pepper Sting. Blink Echo Slam from Goretz. A couple of raises. Sting will not hit with the Ice Blast, but he'll fall nonetheless. And, well, I'm not really sure how much of the Silver Edge was needed there, but sure as hell, you know, got the kill with the item anyway. Yeah, giving him just a little bit more HP. Usually Shadow Blade is going to put you in a situation where you're able to do a hell of a lot of damage. That's nice, but surviving is also a priority for Shadow Fiend, and it does mix in a little bit of defensive power there, so it's a pretty balanced item. Once you get it, it is hella expensive, but hey, now that it's up, it doesn't really matter how expensive it is. They're going to push in to the tier 2s now with the Solar Crest prepped and ready. This tower not doing a ton of damage to these creeps, and Iceberg is going to annihilate the creep wave. Enso are in no position to really make a defense, nor are they in a position to make a trade, so they're just going to concede their bottom lane. Looking for mid lane now. It's not going to be a super easy attack, however. The ice is already coming in. The Wraith King's going to jump right in. However, Snowball is there. We'll save the Templar Assassin a little bit of damage. They will hold the tower. Now Goretz actually going to arrive with Always Want to Fly in a really bad angle. Goretz is right in the front. He'll get doomed and dropped. That's kind of a waste of doom. That may end up biting them as Nausea is going to get hit with a Wraithfire Blast. Will get dropped immediately. Now into ILTW. They're going to try to go. Dust is out. And the Templar Assassin is going to run right into the Shadow Fiend. This Shadow Fiend can't do any damage just yet because they're a fraction. Couple more right clicks though with the Solar Crest. One long raise, not quite in range. The Sigil overhead is going to slow them down enough to save the Templar Assassin. But the tower is still alive right now. And everyone else on Enso will be routed. Ultimately, it's just a shaker for a Tusk. But the towers were falling on the CIS, or for the CIS Reject side, and they're still getting a hell of a lot of gold.
Yeah, I think that you're really happy with that if you're Enso. Like, the turnaround here and the fact that CIS Rejects, like, you saw throughout the start of the fight where it was going on, not the start of this last fight, but earlier on in the game, the big fight that happened down bot where it ended up going into the favor of Enso, during that entire period of time, the Shadow Fiend was able to farm on up, and he's just been able to consistently do that. At this point, he's top of the CS at 129, jumping forward as well. That's going to be a snowball, saving the Tusk's life a little bit longer. Requiem of Souls coming out as well, not really able to do a ton of damage, though. That's going to be Vanscore falling as well. Chaos Knight gets the kill there. Visage, meanwhile, taking down the Tusk. In return, are they going to be able to get anything else out of this? It looks like they're just trying to go into a retreat there. Always going to fly. Did end up dodging the Meld Strike. Nicely done. There's a huge Echo Slam. Turning this back around. ILTW ends up going down. The TA is down now. Visage ends up getting that kill and now jumping forward again onto this Doom. Can they actually make this kill happen, though? It doesn't look like it. That's going to be another fall forward, and Iceberg Dota is just going to deal so much goddamn damage. He is going to clean up crew here. Viper, only hero left alive, but I don't think that he's going to really be able to make a difference at this point.
Iceberg wasn't in that fight. Like, he fought the Requiem and then he just bailed down to the bottom lane. In the meantime, everyone else from CIS Rejects were fighting Enso, numerically even, but Always Want to Fly, again overperforming on this Visage throughout so many soul assumptions. Shaker getting a great Echo Slam there, of course, doesn't hurt either, but for CIS Rejects, they're fighting with not their full strength up against Enso's full strength, and they're coming out ahead decisively so, not only winning the team fights, but also winning the objectives afterwards. Now a 10k lead in gold, 5k in experience, and for Enso, this Viper, it seemed like it wasn't even a Viper getting a lot of farm. Like, he was up on top, he was leading in CS for a great portion of this game. In fact, he's still kind of there. Iceberg is leading him a little bit on the Shadow Fiend, but this Viper just not having the contributions enough for Enso at this stage. Even though it does feel like they should be doing a little bit more, I don't know, just the way that CIS Rejects are taking these fights, the massive effectiveness of this Chilling Touch on Ancient Apparition, the Ice Blast, of course, is helping a lot there as well. And since this Shaker has his Blink Dagger, he's a lot more consistent in those fights, and so are just scrambling for answers at this stage. They're going to smoke up, look for Roshan. It's not available just yet. Now heading down towards the bottom lane. They may run to the Wraith King, but he sees this one coming. He's going to back off. Just look at the Observer coverage here from the CIS Reject side. It's freaking everywhere.
Yeah, they've got vision everywhere. They might have even actually spotted out the smoke there. I'm not exactly sure if they did or not. It does look like they're getting ready for another team fight off to the side. Dire trying to create their own vision bubble, and they're at least going to be able to secure a little bit of farm for themselves, taking on out the enemy jungle. I'm also going to say that I think the mechanism here is not really working out in spades at this point for Enso, because like we said, we've seen the AA blast get sort of consistently leveled against the enemy team, and obviously that creates some problems when you're trying to mech on up in the middle of a team fight. The armor is great, but the regen is not really helpful at all, unfortunately. And so again, we're seeing up top the Iceberg Dota just continue to push on out this tower. The creep wave's going to get gone. That he's dealing over 200 a pop to this tower, and it's just falling, and I don't think that they're going to be able to get here in time to really contest this push at all. They do, I guess, have a glyph up, so probably going to use that right now, and maybe going to try and see if they can take a team fight here.
The rest of CIS Rejects, they're not that far away. The Wraith King's the furthest over in the mid lane, but the rest of the supports, they're right in position. They're going to jump in for the tower. It's not going to get denied because Gortz jump in for the Echo Slam. That's a dead CK and dead Tusk. They both get obliterated by that ice effect of the Ancient Apparition, and that's a 2-kill, again, in a 4v2 scenario. Wraith King is prepping mid lane for a secondary push, and so need a defense right now. There is no Aegis on CIS Rejects, and that's not going to make this push as strong as it can potentially be, but just Blink Fissure with the Shadow Fiend's damage to follow up. Wraith King also with that Blink Dagger, he's ready to go, and Enso, they need their CK and Tusk for the snowball, for the bolt. They need those utility tools. But by the time these heroes are up, the base is going to be kind of rough looking for Enso here. They will lose at the very least their range racks. That's definitely going to fall here. Their heroes are slowly mobilizing, but slowly is the key word right now. TA is finally going to make the call to come back. They're going to catch Sting, however. The Ice Spec's on him. No more healing for him, and he's going to get dropped immediately. Iceberg now is going to get hit out of his Requiem, but he will eventually get it off because he's just not taking enough damage right now. They'll throw another bolt, but the Requiem does come out. Misha's going to try to go for Iceberg right now, and it looks like he may be able to get this kill. The Death Requiem is going to do even more damage. KS still swinging in this fight. He's going to straight for Misha, another Raid Fire Blast will get the kill there. Fissure will slow down Muriel. ILTW is going to blink straight on out. Always Want to Fly still leading the charge right now with the Familiars overhead. CK is going to buy out, look for Always Want to Fly, brings him right back in for a 2-second stun, but the Familiars are still overhead and they're doing so much damage. In fact, they're going to get the kill on Viper and get the kill on the melee racks. Misha's going to Reality Drift in one more time, but into a Fissure he goes. KS is going to pop right back up, and he's ready to go still. Sting's gonna teleport in. Blade Mail already prepped. So is the Scorched Earth. Finally gonna get the Doom out, but it's only on Bank's score. That's not an important target right now. He's gonna chase forward for Always Want to Fly. Will burn him down with Scorched Earth. Wraith King also drops the Templar Assassin. They have Goretz in the corner. He's gonna try to TP out. He will drop a triple kill for ILTW. But that was a super expensive fight for the Enso side. They lose Raxes. They're forced to use 3 buybacks. Yeah, they get the kills, but it's already costing them too much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the TA does get 1,700 gold in that engagement, so pretty solid there. But again, you're hitting the nail on the head. It's not really a situation where they're going to be able to sort of sustain this type of fight. They required so many buybacks to be able to even stay competitive there, and they're not going to have those for the next Aegis, the next team fight. I guess the one flip side of this is that they are going to have the Aegis on up for the TA in the next engagement, which should help a lot. But again, it's I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. You've got the Aghanim Scepter up on Van score now with the Ancient Apparition, looking to have the other one up for Visage as well. So 3 birds. Able to get that one there as well. Iceberg Dota wanted to go for the snatch, but not quite able to make it happen. He is going to end up being spotted over here. Requiem Souls comes out. Muriel on a good amount of damage, but is going to get caught by the Walrus Punch. This is actually a disaster for him. He ends up burning through the Aegis though, so nicely done there. Viper ends up going down. Reality Rift wasn't quite able to catch KS. He was able to blink out afterwards, and looks like they're going to be able to clean on up these Visage Familiars as well.
Ooh, they get all 3. That's another 300 gold on top of the Shadow Fiend kill. He didn't have enough time to actually get his souls filled up by the time he went back into that Roche pit, so he was only working with like 20 something. Now he's down to 13. He needs those souls if the Requiem is going to do anything. Lots of times we see Shadow Fiends just flying back and trying to get into the fight with the Requiem and very quickly realizing that, hey, wait, Requiem of Souls scales the amount of souls I have, and I don't have any souls, so it doesn't actually do that much. Yet that being said, Enso are still down Raxes, only 27 minutes in the game. Wraith King now has his Radiance, which is, you know, always a pretty good item on Wraith King, pretty much no matter what the timing, but the timing is pretty fast. Up against Templar Assassin, with the Refraction shield being burned down by the Radiance, plus the Mischance, this item just does double duty for the hero. As long as CIS rejects don't get too careless and make too many of those Iceberg-esque plays in bad positions, they should still have this game. It's up to Enso to make some really huge plays, get some really big pickoffs to keep themselves in it.
What do you think about this play here by Viper? He ended up transitioning, instead of going for the Aghanim Scepter, straight on into the BKB. Do you think that that is going to end up limiting their damage a little bit too much, or do you think that they just need to keep this Viper alive and sustain?
I think it's fine. Templar Assassin is doing a lot of damage. She has a Desolator, so the fact that Muriel's not going to be maxed out in damage output is not that a big deal. Still with Nether Toxin and BKB, it's a very hard hero to move that CIS rejects do have to commit some resources towards moving, and Aghanim Scepter is probably going to be built up next anyway. The magic immunity versus what CIS rejects have is definitely going to help, but you know, it's not the end-all. It's a decent defensive choice, and I think it's probably out of necessity more than anything else. So I think I'd rather like to see the Aghanims, but I could see this BKB getting a lot of value. It so far hasn't been used yet, and that may be problematic. You really want to have that, you know, being used once or twice by now.
Yeah, the other thing I guess I just realized this when I was looking at Shadow Fiend's item build is he has that Silver Edge, which isn't something that you often see on the Shadow Fiend. So I guess that helps a lot as well, the ability to toss that on out and make sure that he is able to actually make use of those passives. So yeah, the more that I'm thinking about it, you're probably right, it makes a lot of sense here. And Shadow Fiend as well is going to be able to fill in up on his souls. It looks like they might be trying to sort of posture a little bit for a team fight here, and would love to be able to potentially make use of Roche, but considering the fact that that's so far away, it's really not going to be in the cards for them. Maybe going to be
get jump. I Always Want to Fly. KS is following up, and with the ice flying overhead, Viper will definitely fall. Always Want to Fly dropping a little bit to ILTW, but this Visage has so much armor given his cloak as well as the plate mail he has. They're going to slow down KS, but Goretz is just looking to jump in here. And Enso, I think they saw him. They will fall back. Luckily for them, they won't get hit with an Echo Slam, but still it's Viper down for a minute. BKB was not used there, even though I'm pretty sure he had a lot of time to get it off, so I don't like this choice if you're not going to use it, man. They're going to throw some shards over towards Iceberg. He's going to prep the Rec Room, do a lot of damage to Misha, jump in for the stun. Just one shot will kill off the Chaos Knight along with that Echo Slam. They're also going to annihilate the Templar Assassin to get the Doom off onto Iceberg. That's a nice target, but he's not dying just yet. Ice will fly overhead. Sting will definitely shatter to this one, and Nausea taking a good amount of damage as well. Right Fire Blast will kill him off on impact. That's GG. 30 minutes in, and another super high kill game, but it's CIS Rejects to decisively claim this 2-0.
Yeah, really well done. It was a lot of fun to be able to see this matchup, and I think that these two teams are, you know, a group of guys that really want to be super aggressive in these games and make some really high-quality Dota. So really, really pleased with that game.
All right, guys, we should have another game coming up. We're going to have to do a couple of silly things with our lobbies to actually get in there and stay in there. It's going to be CIS Rejects sticking on as they now face up against Hellraisers. The problem is the Hellraisers are still playing, and they just ended their draft. And they're actually running out of time in the venue, so yeah, it's going to take a while to come up, but hopefully it's going to be there eventually. Hopefully you guys are actually seeing the stream, because we had a ton of problems. But for right now, I'm Mikelorus. I'm joined by Lyrical Gangster. We'll be right back for the next set. Hopefully it will come out in time. See you in a bit, guys.